You are not doing enough. The bodies keep mounting.
So Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recently held a sort of town hall talk along with Vice. The main focus was to discuss the cannabis legalization and regulation rollout that's going to happen in Canada over the next year. So while that was the focus, one of the people on the panel that got to ask Trudeau a question was actually about the opioid crisis. So the question that I'm about to show you comes from Zoe Dodd, who is a harm reduction and support worker who is based at the South Riverdale Community Health Centre and coordinates the hepatitis C program in Toronto. So she deeply understands the opioid crisis that's happening around the country. And this was her opportunity to really ask Trudeau, what are you doing? And you're going to see here, she not only complains that Trudeau's not doing enough, but also offers a solution, a real solution. And we'll get more into that after the clip.
This is an emergency. This is a national crisis. 1,400 people dying in 16 months is a disaster. It's a national disaster. You are not doing enough. The bodies keep mounting. And yes, cannabis, we are here about legalization of cannabis, but we need millions of dollars. I am a frontline worker who's not been on her job the last 6 weeks because people keep dying around me, and I am completely traumatized because we don't have the resources to do our work. And it is up to you, Mr. Prime Minister, to find those millions of dollars so we can open those clinics and get access so that more people don't die. And I would say to you that you should look to the model in Portugal. They stopped their overdose epidemic when they decriminalized drugs, and they've had that model for 10 years, and it's been exceptional, and we have models to look at. And I would say be brave. You talk about the safety of children, you talk about the safety of youth. It is young people who are dying, and it is young people who elected you. Save their lives too. It's between the ages of 30 and 39 who are dying in BC. Those are young people. Those are people who have value. And it is not stopping, and it is not slowing down. Do something. Seriously, do something.
So you can see how passionate Zoe Dodd is about this subject. She works in it. She understands it. She sees people die around her. She knows Canada's laws around opioids are archaic and aren't working. And that's why she offers the solution of Portugal. So over 10 years ago, I think at this point, it's 15 or 16 years ago, Portugal decriminalized all drugs. Meaning, regardless whatever drug you have, you're not going to jail. You're not going to have a criminal record for being an addict. That was essentially the point. So instead of putting money into criminalizing or creating criminals out of a drug system, they took a compassionate approach and realized people that are hooked on serious drugs like painkillers, they need help. They don't need to be afraid to go and reach out for help. Now, Canada in general is more progressive on this issue than most. So we have centers where they're called injection sites, where you can go and safely inject drugs into your system that you're addicted to. Now, it's while Canada is better on this issue than most, it still isn't addressing the larger problem. There is still an addiction crisis happening. A lot of people are afraid to get help. And a lot of that reason is because it's still criminalized. So let's take a look at, I'm just going to go over some headlines here, and I'm going to link these full articles in the description. But these are deep dives into what Portugal did a number of years ago and how it's helped people get better and reduce addiction rates. So this is the first article here I'm just going to show quickly is an article from Mike. This is from 2 years ago. Saying 14 years after decriminalizing all drugs, here's what Portugal looks like. Now you can go through the whole article. They have a deep dive on how much better it is now. But this one graph really shows it all. So this is HIV infection rates among injecting drug users have been reduced steadily. So you can see Portugal here, the blue line, ever since they decriminalized all drugs, it's gone down. It's the only country in this list here to consistently go down every year because people are actually getting the help they need. There is money. It's not only about decriminalizing, it's also about putting more money into healthcare to help people who are addicted, to prevent people from continuing on the path that they're on. Now, here's some other headlines. This is from The Independent. Portugal decriminalized drugs 14 years ago, and now hardly anyone dies from overdosing. So I'll link to that in the description, along with the rest of these. This is from The Washington Post. While hardly anyone dies from a drug overdose in Portugal. And this one's from The National Post. We had nothing to lose. How Portugal solved its catastrophic drug woes through decriminalization. So the solution is out there. It's proven. We have this country that decriminalized all drugs, and over 10 years later, we can see that it's worked. So why is it taking the rest of the world to catch up to this? Decriminalize, put money to healthcare. I'm sure there's more to it than just those two things, but do a deep dive on what Portugal did and apply that to our own country, to other countries. This shouldn't be that hard to figure out. This is a major issue, and here's the solution. Decriminalize. Put money to healthcare. And it's important to spread this message because really a large part of the reason why this hasn't been implemented is because of the years and years of propaganda that have been thrown at our society about drugs and how scary drugs are and stay away from drugs. It's the same failed thinking that conservatives try to use on preventing abortion or preventing teen sex. Don't have sex. Yeah, that would be nice, but that doesn't happen. So how about condoms? How about birth control? Sure, it would be great if everyone just obeyed to what you want. Good for you, not good for everybody else. But it would be fantastic if we all just obeyed. Yeah, sure, let's not do any drugs. Not have any sex. Okay. Yeah, well, sorry, that's not working. So, time for a new solution now. So, education is the only real way to combat this. The more people realize that a system like decriminalization works, the more we'll be on board with it.